Welcome back to Travolting, covering Hairspray, with special guest, Scott Holzer. Enjoy the episode. You can't stop the beat ever since this whole world began. A woman find a chicken of a man, and then he wanna shake and shimmy, gonna do it the best I can. Cause you can't stop the podcast.
Oh my god, I hate you, Jeff.
I just wanted to see if you guys would play along. And you did, thank you.
Good morning, Travolting.
Good morning, Travolting. That's right, that's good.
Are we about to have a fun time talking about this?
We are about to have a
movie?
very fun time talking about this, because you can't stop the beat.
You can't stop the
absolutely.
beat.
This is going to be, I mean, not to be, not to my own ego, but this will probably be the best episode ever.
Of this podcast.
Because,
I'm going to quickly turn the lights on, so don't be surprised.
Coming
I'm on.
in hot.
So, thank you folks for joining us last week for our episode on Wild Hogs. Probably covering John Travolta's most homophobic movie.
Yeah, very 100%.
And now we have to balance the scale
where
today.
he is in full drag.
We have to flip the narrative this week, folks.
What do you think that was a phone call with his manager? He's like, so John,
I gotta fix this. I was just doing that. I was doing that film.
that Piker movie.
Yeah,
I
it's
had a
like-
lot of gay jokes with it.
This was
Which,
like
by the way,
his-
I'm not gay. By the way, you know that, right? It's like, John, I never said you were gay, but you know I'm not gay, right?
This is like his apology tour. Like, all these celebrities go out and they're like, oh, I'm sorry I said something homophobic or racist or whatever. This is John Travolta's way of saying, I'm sorry for being homophobic in Wild Hogs.
So here's the gayest movie ever.
A. You're not wrong. I love it to death. I, was obsessed with the musical as a child. I saw it twice on Broadway, once in Delaware and then once in New York City with my mom. And then obviously when the movie came out, and me being my little closeted little gay boy that I was as a child, Zac Efron, oh my God, obsessed with the entire thing. And then obviously, as I got older, John Travolta,
Daddy.
Daddy.
He kind of is our daddy.
I mean, he's definitely yours, Jeff.
I mean, yeah, I'm wearing a shirt with his face on it right now.
Yeah.
With the Vinnie Barbarino hair.
Yeah. It's
One of the best hairs ever.
Back when he
guy.
had hair.
Oh, shit.
When we get a little further down, I'm going to talk a lot about my favorite article headline of all time.
Which is?
I'll say it now, but we'll talk about it more later. It's Pitbull convinced me to shave my head. John Travolta.
I remember you sending this to me randomly at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
I send that article to random people at night just because I want them to experience the sheer joy I felt when I found it.
Okay. So yes, this is Hairspray.
Yes.
It came out in 2007.
2007. Yes.
Honestly, a great cast. Like, when I watched it again last night, I was like, oh my God, there's actually there's a lot of big names in this movie.
This is one of the most stacked casts we've ever covered on this show.
Honestly, yeah, it is.
For being like a musical movie based on obviously a Broadway musical, they picked a pretty good cast overall.
Yeah.
How I always do this bit with John Travolta, where because John Travolta, it took him the longest time to get out of the teen heartthrob love role. Like, he stretched it a lot with the experts. That was stretching it.
He's like 30 and he's
So
playing
I'm always
hey, I'm a
imagining-
young hip guy.
I'm always imagining the script, right? You're reading the script and there's a description of the characters, and then after he finishes the script, he looks up like, okay, so I'm ready to audition for the role of Link.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, we want you to play Edna.
No. It's like, oh, so Corny Collins then? It's like, no.
No, they
It's
give
like,
that role to the younger version of JFK.
yes, exactly.
What's his name? James Marsden.
Also known as a Cyclops from X-Men. Who is not acting in that movie because he's basically asleep. And why would you think I would say that, folks? Well, answer me this. When have you seen his eyes open?
X-Men 3, he opens them once and then he dies.
Yes.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. Hey, he comes back, though.
He does.
He comes back.
For one scene.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough about X-Men. When we get to the X-Cast, or the Marsden cast, so we can talk about Sonic the Hedgehog.
We are never going to do the Marsden cast.
You don't want to talk about Sonic the
much
Hedgehog?
respect to James Marsden, but
No.
Sorry.
Not the type of career
Sorry,
we're looking
James.
for.
But yeah, Hairspray. When did this original musical come out?
So before this was a musical, this was a movie.
Oh.
This was a 1988 film directed by John Waters, the famous provocateur who made a lot of NC-17 rated sex provocative movies.
Who is also very adored by our favorite Disney director, Walt Becker.
Yeah, he's adored by Walt Becker.
So technically, this is a remake of the original movie.
So this is an adaptation of a musical based on a movie.
Interesting.
It's the same thing the producers did, where the producers was a movie, and then it became a musical off the movie that only had one song in it in the movie. They made a musical, and then they made an adaptation of the musical as a movie.
Gotcha.
All directed by Mel Brooks. Loves that story.
Yeah.
But you know,
Could do a full podcast on that one show.
we get to multiple episodes on just Hairspray or just the producers.
Yeah.
But no, John Lars had done things like, you know, Pink Flamingos, Female Trouble, a lot of like transgressive films at the time. Hairspray was his first that was rated PG, so it was kind of a new step for him. It's still a transgressive movie of the time. It's dealing a lot with like race relations and, you know, body positivity, image ideas.
When did the original movie come out again?
88.
88. That's pretty for its time.
Yeah, it's height of Reagan era.
Yeah.
So it's a very different cultural shift than what people were used to. And the big thing that the movie was known for, among just, you know, being a good movie, was that it cast a famous drag star as Edna Turnblad in the movie, and began the trend of casting men and drag queens as this character.
Yeah.
As a way
I think they stuck with that when they was in actual musicals as
they
well.
They did.
Yeah.
Harvey Fierstein originated the role in the Broadway production of Hairspray. I just want to be loved. Is that so wrong? I love him.
I think John Travolta did him justice.
Oh, he did.
Oh, definitely.
But you know, that movie was a moderate success. They made a musical based off of it, Hairspray, which is all the songs we hear in this movie. And then the musical became a major success, and around 2007 it came time, let's make a adaptation of that musical as a movie. We're going full circle with this one.
Yeah.
I think the next logical step is that they make a stage production based on this movie without songs in it.
So it's just full on.
And then they make an adaptation of that.
Play.
Yes, just a play based on this movie, though, specifically this version. And then they make a movie based on that play, and we've come full circle.
I mean, if John Travolta gets cast, then at least he'll have some work again.
He can get some good work again. He's not doing Paradise City. Yeah. But no. So the production of this movie, it won 8 Tonys in 2003, the Broadway show, and New Line owned the rights to the movie, the original movie, and thus kind of inherited the rights to the musical. So they started coming up with the idea around the same time the producers is coming into inception. So these are kind of running on parallel tracks with each other. Mm-hmm. And they hired the producers of Chicago to come in and take over the kind of guide this thing to its conclusion, and work their way through various different directors and idea makers and whatnot for this. They eventually settle on, what's his name? The director of this, Adam Shankman, who's one of the very few like openly gay directors like working in major Hollywood productions right now, especially of this time. Because Hollywood, it's not like great now, but it was working especially through a very homophobic like push in the 2000s, the Bush era,
as we have covered
in Wild Hogs. In Wild Hogs,
and we'll cover in another Walt Becker film in a few weeks.
And so Adam Shankman started his career as a choreographer for like musical scenes in movies and TV shows, on stage productions. And so after he got into directing movies, he made a lot of sense to take over this movie. Mm-hmm. He has the perspective where it's kind of about like, outsiders, so he can come in with that idea. He has choreography and musical experience, so he can hop in with that. And he also just has directed big comedy movies.
Yeah.
He directed, I wouldn't say he's my favorite director, but he had done major things before. He directed The Wedding Planner, Bringing Down the House, A Walk to Remember, Cheaper by the Dozen 2, and The Pacifier prior to doing this. Does anyone remember The Pacifier?
I remember going to the movie theater during like matinee at like 11 or 12 p.m. with my mom and my brother on like a day off from school to see that movie. Yeah. And I still love that movie too. Hands down my favorite Vin Diesel movie.
And you think that you ain't got a chance.
Boom, boom, boom.
Don't make a move till you're in the groove. And do the Peter Panda dance. Wop, wop.
Well, clearly Stuart loves it.
Listen, when Vin Diesel finds out that the swastika that the older kid had was because he was actually in an underground Broadway production of The Sound of Music, and then he became the director of it? Are you kidding me? One of the best movies of all time. Pacifier. Vin Diesel.
My Lord.
It was snubbed at the Oscars.
It was snubbed. That was Vin Diesel's blowout for John Travolta.
Yes. Vin Diesel's blowout.
That was Vin Diesel's blowout.
What, not Fast 5 or F9?
Or Riddick.
Okay. So
back to Hairspray.
Yes. And so Shankman gets hired to make this movie. And he immediately goes to John Waters and is like, you created the original. You're my sensei. What should I do? And John Waters told him, don't do what I did. Make something new and original. Which this movie kind of does with the material. It's a little less, I would say, campy than the original. Believe it or not, this movie is less campy than the original in the Broadway production. This was a very deliberate attempt to make it less campy.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if that
reads through.
Not a great start.
I mean, it's been a while since I've seen the actual musical live. I can't even make it like.
It's definitely not Rent.
It's definitely
not Rent.
It's definitely not Rent. Yeah, it's still pretty campy. Like I don't know if that actually got hit on the nail on the nose.
Yeah, you don't know if they succeeded at that one.
No.
And they change around some of the structure of the show for the movie just so that songs can better like bleed into the narrative. Because on a stage production, it's a lot easier to just have like a song break out in the middle of a scene. In a movie, it can be like a little disruptive if you don't have a lead into it. Yeah. And this movie does a really nice job, I think, of leading into all the songs and not making it seem like, wait, why is everyone singing and dancing now?
Like honestly, like, I bring up one of the songs that I think has one of the best lead-ins is "I Can Hear the Bells."
Yeah.
When Link comes in to the detention and like bumps into Tracy Turnblad, and then she starts singing, she starts hearing bells because she's hearing the wedding bells of their future wedding and whatnot, and Amanda Bynes is playing Penny, and you just hear Tracy goes like, "I can hear the bells," and she's like, "What bells? What are you talking about?" And it's a beautiful transition to a song. I mean, from my knowledge, very similar to what the actual musical was, but like, to go on your point, they did a fantastic job of roping in the actual songs for the musical into this, with beautiful ins and beautiful outs into all of it. I think they had. Did they have any original like songs for this movie, or is it all based on the actual songs from the musical?
I believe they're all based on the original songs from the musical. I don't think they wrote anything new for this. They changed some songs' lyrics a little bit. And they changed like how some of the characters speak. Okay. Because in the original movie, some of the black characters would have more of a stereotypical like way of speaking to them. That was toned down for this movie to make them seem more realistic.
Gotcha.
Because that is if part of the movie is about race relations, you don't want to be part of the problem when you're telling the story.
And, I mean, let's just call this movie what it is. It is marketed mostly for a whiter audience.
Yeah,
it really is.
Oh yeah.
I would say like this is not like something that's like they're not taking any chances with this film, which is partly something that we'll talk about later, which is like this is a very like, I'm not gonna say like it's not quite as bad. It's like White Savior, Blind Side, or something like that, because I don't necessarily think. I mean, Corny Collins just kind of like integrate the whole show live. Yeah, which kind of makes him like White Savior-ish. And Tracy's front and center in that protest too.
Oh, 100%.
So, you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of like, I could feel like this is like, we're going to make white people feel good about themselves.
That too. But at the same time, like, I mean, I don't know that was actually their fully intentions of having that, just because of like when you watch, at least if you watch the movie and like her intentions behind, everything, like she starts like that's been her character of like
from the beginning, yes,
from the very beginning. She's like,
I agree.
When she was auditioning, she was like, "Would you swim in an integrated pool?" Yeah, Velma von Tussle was like, "Would you swim in an integrated pool?" And she was like, "Yeah, integration is all the new craze." And that's what originally messed up her original first chances of getting into it. So like that's always been her thing. It was like she's somebody who's obviously doesn't fit the norm of society. She's a very heavy overweight woman and is very into like like black music, R&B, and she gets into it throughout the musical. So like, it definitely comes off a little white savior, but I definitely don't think it was any close to their intentions of doing it.
Yeah.
And it has the advantage of it's not about a white person learning that racism is bad. It's about people who know racism is bad stepping up to
Exactly. It's not. It's
Sure.
It's not the blind side of being like, I'm just gonna save.
I guess
this,
it's the same
this
rate.
black
Yeah,
kid.
Courtney Collins has always been like pro integration on the show.
Yeah.
Like from the very first scene, like he says that.
Mm-hmm. And like I'm not gonna say it's like a perfect version of that, like a perfect version that would foreground the black characters. But at the end of the day, this is a movie made by white people, starring white people.
Yeah.
And so it isn't that movie.
Right.
And I think it does a good enough job with what it has to do.
And I think based on this conversation we're having, I think we can all kind of agree it's like it's not necessarily like a huge dinger against the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like
It's just a thing that you got to acknowledge.
You got to acknowledge that
I
this
also
is
like
what the
guarantee
movie is.
this movie's obviously targeted for more like probably it's like 13 to like 20-year-olds. So got to tone it back a little bit, I guess, in some aspects of it.
The 18 to 24 range who doesn't like Bolt anymore.
Switching from Bolt to Hairspray. Also, can we talk about Queen Latifah?
Okay,
The secret
we
sauce
gotta
of this
talk about
movie.
Queen
Because
Latifah.
like
The
I
secret sauce
rewatched
of
this
this
yesterday, and I love Queen Latifah in this. Like her character just is like one of those like very like true, authentic, powerful black women in this movie.
Yeah,
and I just absolutely in love with her. Like I want to be her in this movie.
I said this to Becky yesterday because we were watching. I'm like, the audacity to name yourself Queen, to call yourself Queen Latifah, and then live up to it.
She does every day.
She does.
Like it's like the Lady Gaga thing, where if like Queen Latifah or Lady Gaga didn't have the talent and the skill to back it up, calling yourself that would probably be a little embarrassing. Mm-hmm. But they live up to it.
Yeah.
Like Queen Latifah lives up to calling herself Queen.
Oh, 100%.
Lady Gaga lives up to like Lady Gaga.
And her like voice in this is absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like she hits, musicals are supposed to be very, very like outlandish, words. You're gonna learn today. I really don't know English that well.
Me no speak well.
Me no speak English. Musicals are very blown out. Like you ever see a stage production, it's very nasally, very like loud. Holding notes like crazy, blah blah blah, whatever. But like the way I think they changed a little bit of the music just because, it's not Broadway, it's not on stage, but I think she did a fantastic job.
I think everyone does a good job in this movie. I have no problems with the cast.
Chris, we'll go to Chris
We'll
Rock.
talk about we'll talk about Chris. Hey, what are you talking about? My performance in this movie.
My singing. Yeah, everyone had a beautiful voice, and then you get to Christopher Walken, who obviously got casted for very specific reasons. Because if you ever seen the live broadcast, like the actual like live Broadway show of this, the person who plays him, Wilbur Turnblad, is this nerdy like older guy, completely oblivious, and obviously he plays that character absolutely. Yeah. He probably just played himself.
Christopher Walken had no idea he was on set when he was making this movie.
So my hot take on this film is if you watch it, and in movies and TV shows, sometimes, obviously they don't shoot everything chronologically. You're not going to shoot the first scene of the movie first. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So when the first time you see Christopher Walken and John Travolta in The Thing, Christopher Walken's like a little, like, he honestly looks nervous to be there, and he looks a little scared. And my theory behind this is that was shot towards the very end of filming, and he did not know John Travolta was in drag for this, and he thought it was just some other actress. And then he found out that it was John Travolta in drag, and he got very like freaked out because he fell in love with his character as he was playing his husband.
I just fell in love with John Travolta.
Because if you watch the rest of it, the romance, the chemistry, it works a little bit better than it did in that first scene of the movie. And I'm watching that. I went back and rewatched this like 2 or 3 times yesterday because I was like, something seems off
about this right now.
So I'm convinced no one told Christopher Walken that it was John Travolta in drag, and like he like secretly like had a crush on him the entire time, and then eventually found out that it was.
He's like, am I gay?
It's like when they called rap. He just sees like the woman who's playing Edna Turnblad take off the wig.
He's like, whoa, what is that?
Unzip the fat suit and then just out
just
comes,
like John
takes
Travolta.
off like the 30-pound cheeks. And it's
I'm almost curious if it's like the what was that?
I don't know.
Did someone walk in?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that noise was. I'm almost curious if it's like the like when they did It. the recent It movies, they didn't show the kids Bill Skarsgård in the Pennywise costume until like the first day of production to get like a natural fright out of them. I'm almost curious if they didn't show the cast John Travolta in the fat suit, so when he walks out, they're all like, "Whoa!"
That honestly could be it too, because like if they say that they did shoot it chronologically or you know close to chronologically, that'd be the first time Christopher Walken saw John Travolta and it's the first time we see him together in the same scene.
Yeah.
So like he could have been like, "Whoa, what the fuck?"
Yeah. And he's like, "I didn't know you'd be looking like this."
And an episode we definitely have not already recorded yet. This is going to be a movie next week called Bolt. And it's just something that kind of related, of John Travolta's voice, is that John Travolta has in general like a medium to high range male voice in general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like his Edna Turnblad voice like works for like
it definitely does.
Like you can't cast like Tim Allen in drag because Tim Allen like, "Hey, I'm Edna Turnblad," you know. The same thing.
But you can definitely cast John Travolta, you know.
Yeah.
No, you can only cast Tim Allen as a cocaine smuggler.
Right.
Or Santa Claus.
Or Santa Claus.
He's coming back.
I mean,
either way, Snow will be involved.
Either way, there will be a lot of white stuff.
Yeah.
But back to John Travolta's voice.
But he's not raising the register of his voice that much.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
adds a little feminine tone to it.
If John Travolta's voice is like in this normal register, he's like just like barely talking like in this register. Like it's like very like a few notes above his register. He's
just
like
slightly there.
Just slightly there. And then when he sings as Edna Turnblad,
Yeah.
oh,
He's cooking.
look how they massacred my boy.
No.
I sent Jeff a clip of The Godfather when, just when Vito Corleone is just like, "Look how they massacred my boy."
When you saw John Travolta.
When I saw John Travolta in drag,
So I want to quickly jump to the Travolta context corner.
we are 20 minutes.
We kind of talked about how the movie kind of came into inception.
Yes,
But where this is at for Travolta in his career
very
is,
important.
you know, he's Battlefield kind of destroyed everything. Every attempt to rebuild it kind of failed. And so with Lonely Hearts onward, he's less trying to recapture he's less trying to recover and more just trying to find a new avenue. He's trying to find his Pulp Fiction, something new.
Yes.
And Lonely Hearts doesn't work as a hard-boiled detective film with Detective Stromboli.
With the pastrami
The
sandwich.
Yeah, with the
Stromboli.
Look, James Gandolfini walks into every scene of that movie and he's like just shoveling lasagna into his mouth.
At the
hot.
listen, Scott. At the end of the final fight scene is between Selma Hayek holding a giant piece of like a baguette bread, and then
He's holding a slab of salami and they're
and it's like a sword
fighting.
fighting with it.
Sounds hot. That's kind of
definitely how the movie ends.
But then he does Wild Hogs right after, which kind of, it works for him. And it sets him up with that Disney deal. But
Yes.
that unfortunately implodes very soon.
Yeah, it's very short-lived.
Yeah. And then he does this, which, you know, brings him back to his musical roots. It's set in roughly the same time period as Grease.
Yeah,
So it's recapturing some of that magic, but it's putting him in this new path.
He's trying to outlive the glory days.
Yeah.
By dressing up as a woman.
And he takes on what is honestly for like a prominent male actor and like an important role and something that, you know, you have some like guts going into and like playing a woman in this movie. And I think it unfortunately, even though he does a really nice job in this movie, I think this is unfortunately something that kills his career at this point. Because it's pretty much after this, it's the end.
yeah.
This is
What has he done since Hairspray?
This is something that brings him back into the public consciousness. But when he's back in the public, and we'll talk about at the end of the episode a bit more of this. But when he's back in the public consciousness of this, generally it's like John Travolta dressed up as a woman in that movie. Isn't that funny?
So last week, Scott, we did the Wild Hogs episode with my dad. My dad's currently 65, like older guy. And when this movie came out in 2007, he would have been like mid 40s, I want to say. And you know, during the Wild Hogs episodes, we're wrapping up. Jeff said, like, join us next week for Hairspray. And the first thing my dad said, which was, "Oh, that's the movie John Travolta did drag in."
I mean, honestly, I told my dad I was coming on this, and that was one of the first things he said.
Right.
And so I think for Travolta, who's trying to break into new avenues of his career, this is an audacious move. But it sets him up in this position of people can't take him seriously.
It's
after
kinda
this,
like-
which is depressing. That is where the culture's at the
I
time.
mean,
It's kinda like-
Oh yeah, that I'm talking
Yeah.
about just people taking John Travolta seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because like he was coming off a period where he was a respected, serious actor, he did good movies that we talked about.
Yeah.
He did some bad movies that we talked about, but he was generally respected by the public and by, the industry.
Yeah.
And then after this, he's almost a laughingstock, but for a good performance.
Right.
And I think that's kind of the end, which we'll talk about. People can't take him seriously after this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, he was one of the first choices for this movie when they were coming. Of
course he would be.
They were trying to figure out who can play Edna Turnblad, and they wanted someone who had comic chops, wouldn't have a problem with playing like an overweight woman in a movie, would be like brave enough to do that. And the choices they came up with were Robin Williams, Steve Martin, Tom Hanks, and John Travolta.
Honestly, Robin Williams would have been great too.
Yeah, Robin could have done it.
Oh, easily.
I don't think Tom Hanks or Steve Martin could have. I don't think they have the musical chops to do this.
Steve Martin probably would. No, it would not have been
Tom
good.
Hanks especially. Scratch him off.
Tom Hanks is on the list of every casting agent who casts any movie ever. It's just like, okay, cool. Has he played this American yet? No.
Yes.
All right, let's try to cast him first.
Did you guys hear that Tom Hanks was cast to play me in a movie coming out next year? He's working his way through every American citizen.
I mean, yeah.
But no, Robin Williams could have done it, but I think Travolta's the right choice.
Honestly, out of all the actors you just named, John Travolta, hands down, would definitely fit the role.
He's not like overweight at this time, but he has a similar like body type.
Well, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Like we've proven he can play.
Yeah.
As a woman.
Oh, you're talking about Robin Williams. I'm talking about John Travolta.
Oh, sorry.
But he has like a similar body type. He has the musical chops. This is a nostalgia piece for like kind of the 50s, 60s era, which he is prominently known for with Grease. So kind of all the stars aligned, and he got this role.
I just want to think what was going through his mind going, you know what, this movie will bounce back my career.
He's thinking the right thing.
I think he is too, because I think about the Austin Powers Goldmember cameo.
Yeah.
Like he's going to dress up like this goofy-ass villain, but he's implanting himself in a movie full of like A-list stars.
Yeah. Did you know I didn't know that was John Travolta until like a year ago?
At the end of Goldmember?
Yeah, I had no clue. I watched that movie religiously as a kid. I've seen it more times than I can count. And then Jeff and I are talking about, this podcast, and he brings up Goldmember, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "He's in it." And I was like, "No, he's not." And he pulls up the fucking cast list and the clip, and I was like, "Holy crap, you're right."
It's John Travolta.
Yeah. But I think it's the same thing with this movie. It's like he's putting on and I think we can all agree it's a pretty decent performance of Edna Turnblad that he does. And he's sort of putting himself in this sort of category with Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Walken, and James Marsden.
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron.
It's more like Snack Efron.
I do want to just throw a tidbit in. Thank you, Zac Efron, for keeping up with my type as it changes throughout my life.
He's been adjusting for you.
Oh my God. He started off as lovable twink. Now he's a hunk. Oh God. But all right, back to John Travolta.
We'll talk a lot about Zac. But yeah, that's basically where he's at when he comes into this, and we'll talk about how it affects his career at the end. Yeah, if they haven't already.
Which is kind of, I'll make fun of John Travolta, to the cows come home, but like he had a beautiful performance in this movie. He played, Turnblad
he played the role
beautifully well. And like I think one of my favorite scenes in that, and it is when she finally leaves the house with Tracy to go to Mr. Pinky's bustier shop as her agent or representative for Tracy. And she's like so nervous about leaving. She's never left the house before, and she's like this super nervous before. And they have this huge, beautiful, number when they get to Mr. Pinky's. And she immediately changes from this very like nervous character to like, I don't want to leave the house, to like putting her like big girl glasses on and like
let's look at this contract
here.
She's
like, absolutely not. No.
I want 50% commission and not a non-exclusive contract.
Not a dime over 10.
It's like 34D. It's like
Triple E.
And Travolta fought for the fat suit in this.
Yeah.
They were obviously gonna like put.
No, he just gained the weight. That's just his body.
He did the Russell Crowe thing. If you read,
he actually fought to have a fat suit for this versus
because like they were gonna put a little bit on. He's like, no, I want a big fat suit. He's like, we're not gonna make this movie about body positivity and only have me in like a light fat suit. He's like, it needs to be a big fat suit so we can really like make the point. And he also said like, I want to give her this like ugly Baltimore accent.
Oh my god! So when she says the word diet, when right before my next, I can't even replicate it. It is honestly the worst Baltimore accent. I'm Jeff and I are from the East Coast, and Baltimore's only like a 45 minute to an hour drive from where I'm from, and I'm like, I've never heard something that thick, that disgusting of Baltimore ever.
The accent is not.
I'll go after my next diet. I'm like what accent is this?
The accent. Not good. But I respect that he tried to do it because he could have just talked in like a woman voice. But instead he's like, no, I want to give her this accent and still make her a powerful figure in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I want to say it doesn't matter what you sound like, what you look like. It's
I do have
who
to
you
say
are.
she looked absolutely gorgeous in that dress from Mr. Pinky's bustiers. Gorgeous.
She really sold it.
Well, you'll stop traffic.
As she's eating like 4 slices of pie in front of her. But I mean,
Tracy, eat your donuts.
Yeah. Shall we get into the plot?
Shall we
of the movie?
dive right into the plot
With the opening number of Good Morning
Baltimore.
Woke up today feeling the way that I always do.
Okay.
As you can
let's
tell,
just
we
establish
all-
right now for the audience, this is going to happen a lot.
Well, we are discussing a musical, and I have played the musical soundtrack more times than I can count. Jeff and I have listened to the entire soundtrack on the drive back to the East Coast.
We have
on multiple occasions. So yes, we will probably be singing almost every single song in this entire show.
But hey, it is fair use, so we can do it.
Yeah, criticism. And it's our performance of it.
Yeah. Good Morning Baltimore with Tracy Turnblad waking up. Poofy hairspray, really bad for the environment, by the way.
Oh, honestly, we're talking about the ozone, in Greenhouse, the amount of hairspray. Honestly, they do joke about that throughout the entire thing because, obviously, the ultra clutch, whatever. They're constantly spraying it throughout the entire thing, and it's just kind of this a very hidden, ongoing joke throughout the entire thing. That it's very bad because they're spraying in people's faces and everyone's coughing and dying. This leads me on a tangent to something that has nothing to do with the plot. But one of the reason why Tracy gets the job is because one of on the Corny Collins show is because one of the dancers has to leave.
Yeah.
And Corny Collins is up there going, so what? How long will you be gone? About 9 months. I was, as a child, I had no idea what that meant, and I have seen this movie for years, and I haven't seen it in the last couple years, and I rewatched that last night, and I was like, oh my god, that's what they were implying. But okay, so back to the plot. But my never.
Well, and this is one of those fun IMDb facts, but it's actually. You good? You good? Do you need?
I have ADHD, so I'm playing with the chair right now.
It's just background noise that It's just background.
Can I give you something else to play with?
It's background noise that might be fucky. So it's actually deodorant spray. Mm-hmm. Because actual hairspray wouldn't show up on camera.
Yeah.
So that's actually think of Axe body spray in the hallway.
Oh god.
It's what they're spraying on set.
Cut. All the actors are like, oh god, get me away.
I would have died. I'm highly allergic to Axe body spray and most aerosol.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, because it's shit. There's nothing good in it. I remember in middle school going into the locker room and the kids were spraying their entire bodies, and I'm like, oh, the women are gonna love this, and I meet me in a little closet and stuff, no one's gonna fucking like this. You smell like fucking ass.
Yeah.
So then,
I think all three of us went to all boys high schools, right?
Did we?
No.
Oh, you didn't.
I went to a public high school.
Okay.
Only Jeff and I did.
Yeah. Axe body spray.
I went to a private Catholic school, elementary, K through 8th grade, but it was also co-ed.
Yeah.
So I never.
And we all turned out perfect little Catholic boys.
Absolutely.
Speak for yourself. Don't worry, I get on my knees every week and pray. All right, but back to the plot.
So Good Morning Baltimore. Tracy's singing about just
that she lives in Baltimore.
That she lives in Baltimore.
She's letting us know.
And obviously, she walks by the Flasher who lives next door.
Yeah. Do you know who the Flasher is?
Yeah, I actually just had the cast list pulled up. It is son of a bitch. Who is it? Do you know who it is?
Yeah, the Flasher who lives next door, who she walks by, is John Waters, the director of the original movie.
Oh, that's why that name was familiar.
And being known as a transgressive, provocateur in film, it makes sense he would be the Flasher.
Yeah.
Wow, I love the little Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Also, as throughout, I don't know if this is in the opening montage. I don't think it actually is, but they're obviously making fun of the times and, like what people thought was acceptable. And they're walking by a bar, and you see these two pregnant women, like 8 months, like full showing pregnant women, smoking cigarettes, both having martinis. And I'm like, the times, like, it's amazing our parents survived. And,
Yes,
like, we ended up okay. Because, like...
Right. And so then she's, like, late for the school bus, and then she's, like, singing on top of a garbage truck. And that's the opening song, and she gets to school.
Yeah.
And she's in school, and there's a joke about, like, I can't see across, like, Tracy's hair, because she has, like, big, floofy hair. And it's like, Tracy, if I had to write you up for one more detention on improper hair, it's like...
Inappropriate hair height? Get it right.
This is going to happen a lot as well. But she's counting down the minutes and seconds, and then it gets to, like, 3:30, and the bell rings, and her and her friend Penny...
Played by
Amanda Bynes.
Miley Cyrus from Bolt.
Oh my God.
Next week we're going to cover Bolt, which the main character besides Bolt is also named Penny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Penny, which another IMDb trivia fact, her like 2 pigtails took 2 hours every day.
Yeah.
And this brings me to an observation I have to make, because Jeff and I are both all 3 of us work in the film industry, but Jeff and I particularly work in the AD staff. In the AD department.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like accounting for makeup times.
And accounting for like makeup times and like prosthetics. This entire movie is like an AD's nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Travolta was a 4-hour makeup job.
Like,
to get the fat suit on.
A 4-hour makeup job. Like, are pre-calls like that allowed? Because if you have a full day of Edna Turnblad, right?
The odds are you're probably not shooting a full day. You probably have like a 2-hour pre-call, and you're probably shooting only 8 hours with that actor.
Has to. You have to.
There's some,
or else because like also those are big name
good.
Actors. Like their rates are insane.
Yeah,
they want a full turn.
They're gonna argue that they want their full 12, which is understandable. That all of us deserve a full turnaround.
Yeah.
If you don't know what turnaround is, it's the time you get off set, time you come back. Just in case you didn't know. So, like, yeah, that's honestly kind of a nightmare. Obviously, I work in the camera department. I have nothing to do with this whatsoever. I could give 2 shits what an actor
Scott's
looks like.
as long as the actor's in front of the camera when we need them, all right with me.
That's honest. Yeah. I don't even care if they're in front of the camera when we need them. I can just sit there and do nothing for 20 minutes, which is what I did the other day.
Yeah. This movie just seems like an AD nightmare.
Well, it's just John Travolta and
everybody.
Penny.
The costume, the background. Oh my God, getting the background all dressed in the 60s costumes
and all their
stuff.
hair done.
And
especially when they all have Tracy's hair.
And also just the choreographing of like musical numbers for film shoots is drastically more annoying, because you're not just choreographing like they're dancing. You're choreographing everything in the background. Because you're now not on a stage. You have to actually make it look like real life. Depth, cars moving by. So yeah, absolute AD nightmare. Just beyond just the prosthetics and the makeup and that kind of timing, but the timing of everything else, and then also like the camera moves constantly in this too. So imagine trying to film these live giant, when they're they're doing that giant dance scene after they get all dressed up. Like that must have been freaking insane.
Yeah. So then at 3:30, her and Penny are sprinting down the street. They get to her house, and what comes on the show?
My mother doesn't allow me to perspire.
The Corny Collins show, which that's where we get James Marsden.
Yes, playing Corny Collins.
Playing Corny Collins, not John Travolta.
Yes.
So, yeah, which good role. James Marsden's good.
But they watch the Corny Collins show, and we get introduced to that via the Nicest Kids in Town song.
And
nice white kids who like to lead the way.
Yeah.
And once a month we have our Negro Day.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Like the entire it's ridiculous.
That's the thing that was kind of, I mean, obviously, but it's crazy that like having one like Negro Day a month was considered progressive at this time.
Yeah. And they obviously wanted to get rid of it. Like, you know, obviously, Von Tussle was like, this is ridiculous. We got to get rid of it.
Yeah. So they watch the Corny Collins show, and that's when we get, and I'm Link.
Yeah. Oh my God. Link with the little hair loop on the front. Oh, there is a photo of me somewhere as a child trying to recreate that in my bathroom or for school or whatever. I failed miserably, but I was obsessed with that. And And rightfully so.
So we get Zac Efron's entrance. Also, Brittany Snow as what's her
Von
name?
Tussel's daughter.
Von Tussel's daughter.
Her name is Amber.
Amber.
Mikey, Becky, Nuan, or whatever the twins are.
I was gonna be really shocked if
You knew them all.
If you knew
I think
all
it's
the-
Doreen and Doreen.
It's Noreen Doreen. Yeah. Yeah, and then you obviously don't even they cut away for the characters because who cares? So you don't really get to see all of them in that when they do their little call out line or whatever. Obviously the first couple are more important, and then obviously
the end is all right, we're working our way through it.
And so they run home for the Corny Collins show. They watch the show, and then Penny's mom shows up because Tracy's mom runs a laundress, runs like a laundromat in her house, and she comes over. It's $3 for a pair of petty pants. Well, I'm sorry, Elma, or I can't do her accent. I'm sorry, Elma. Some of your personal stains required to pound out with a rock.
There's an amazing there's an amazing fucking hell. There's an amazing quote that Travolta says as Edna Turnblad, which by this time is when we're getting the Edna Turnblad reveal. And boy, that reveals.
Oh,
amazing.
they don't show her face to begin
They
the beginning. They show
yeah.
shots of her body and just how big she is as a person, and then eventually she comes into the frame, and you're just like, John Travolta, baby.
It's him.
But she has this great quote where it's oh, well, baby, you don't know the skills required to get blood out of a car seat,
upholstery.
Car upholstery, which is a great Pulp Fiction callback.
I wonder if he threw that in on himself, or the writer came up with, the director came up with that.
We had to bring Harvey Keitel in.
Yeah, the
Wolf.
Oh my gosh.
Take that straight to the bank.
So and then Penny's mom comes in. She's like, "Oh, my daughter does not listen to that dirty music." And then that's when Edna Turnblad turns around and sees Tracy, and Tracy's trying to tell her to be quiet. And then it's discovered that Penny is there.
Yeah.
My daughter's collecting stamps.
Yeah.
The post
Allison
office.
Janney's playing Penny's mom.
She is a fantastic. She plays religious person as well.
This is the
But
origin
I think
story
one of the
of Carrie.
I think one of the funniest things is when later, and then we'll get to it, but when Tracy's being hid from the police, and she takes Penny when she catches her and goes, "Well, just wait until your father gets home from prison." It's all right. Well, I want to know.
That's a backstory.
That's a backstory I want. I would love a spinoff.
Hairspray Origins. What's Penny's last name in this? Hairspray
Pingleton.
Right? Hairspray Origins, the Pingleton family.
Oh my god, I would watch it in a heartbeat. I mean, I would work on it. If someone called me up and was like, "Hey Scott, I want you to be director of photography for this," I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, I'll do it." Never done it before, but I'll do it.
So, what happens after this? Penny goes home.
Well, they sneak. Tracy runs out, and Penny sneaks out of her house again. They watch the last of the Corny Collins show in front of a TV store.
Yeah.
And that's when it's
school tomorrow.
And we're gonna have auditions for a brand new member of our.
Because this is where the 9 months.
This is where the 9 months joke comes in. And it's
how long are you gonna be gone, Stacy? About 9 months.
And then Corny Collins goes,
"Should be more careful."
And so, Corny Collins has this beautiful line afterwards that I can't remember, but it's something being maybe not as so free, be more free willing, but not as free loving, or something like that. But it was just a beautiful one liner that he threw in there after that. And then obviously get to the school. They skip the next day, and Penny comes down with Tracy to WT, whatever the studio's name is.
Yeah. That's where we get Mrs. Von Trussell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he says,
twist.
He says,
mashed potato mumbo.
He says it's time to say goodbye to our own fun-loving, freewheeling little Brenda. And Brenda's like, "I'll be gone just 9 months." And he's like, "Well, maybe a little less freewheeling."
Oh God.
Oh man.
Because God forbid we show teen pregnancy on TV in the 50s, because
that'd be offensive.
That would be bad.
Very bad. So then, we get Michelle Pfeiffer's Mrs. Von Trussell.
Yes, Tracy and Penny go to audition. Well, Tracy goes to audition and Penny goes to just watch.
Yeah, and
while she's eating a lollipop the entire movie too.
She has a lollipop in her mouth.
It's oddly sexual, but not.
It is oddly sexual.
She apparently went through 40 lollipops a day in this production
and gained 10 cavities.
Well, the fun thing is Amanda Bynes' dad is a dentist.
Yeah.
And apparently he was very nervous about her making this
Yeah,
movie because
she's
she always had a
eating
lollipop
nothing
in
but
her mouth.
sugar. They could have come up with something that wasn't actually real.
It's like herbal cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's like it
Yeah.
probably wasn't a sucker.
Yeah.
Probably like ceramic or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Movie magic, people.
Movie magic
Nothing
left.
you see on the screen is real. It is all made up.
Yeah. So then we get the whole Miss whatever Queen dance thing.
Yeah.
What was the award thing that
Miss
she won?
Hairspray?
No, it is
was like
Miss
Miss
Baltimore Crabs.
So yeah, we get the Miss Baltimore Crabs dance, and how she like slept with the judges to win.
Yeah.
Sets her up as like being this like
The villain.
the villain.
I also want to say Travolta was the one who recommended Michelle Pfeiffer for the role. In
And Christopher
part,
Walken too,
and
right?
Christopher Walken, in part because Michelle Pfeiffer is the lead of Grease 2.
Oh.
And Travolta's the lead of Grease 1.
Yeah.
And so, like, he thought it would be fun to get together on screen for the first time. And that effect was not lost in the production at all. It's very deliberate that the main hero and the main villain's parents are both played by Travolta and Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Little tidbits.
Where does Christopher Walken come into play here?
I just wanted to show up to set and have a good time.
He wanted a paycheck.
Yeah.
He's like, you telling me I can get money for this?
Dude, he opened up a prank store. He probably was his actual. That's probably what he does when he's not like working as an actor. He just runs his little like prank shop.
Sleeping on whoopee cushions. Didn't want to gamble my sciatica.
Oh no, sorry, that one was me.
So she does this whole dance and how she's like, Tracy will never get in because her weight, and it's like then there's a whole would you dance into an integrated pool thing,
swim in an
or
integrated
swim.
pool.
So yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, integration's a new thing. It's like that was the wrong answer. We are kicking you
You're
out.
clearly setting up this family as just racist, like
Racist
pure
and
on
sizist.
racist and sizist, and everything else in between.
Yeah.
But obviously, it does not stop Tracy's like
Motivation.
for this. If anything, that strengthens it because
Yeah.
she's like, "Fuck this bitch."
Tracy never really gets too discouraged in this movie.
No.
She's always like optimistic and pushing forward.
like there's a few times where Edna Turnblad gets like you
Yeah.
know put down a lot, but
Tracy
Tracy's
like,
always,
obviously,
like, just kind of rubs off her shoulder.
Yeah.
Kinda. Did we get to the detention bit after this?
we're getting
it's
to.
right
she
after
comes,
this.
She sneaks back into the class, and the teacher catches her and goes, skipping class again or whatever, and writes her up for detention. And that's when she meets what's the character's name? I forget. When she goes to detention, and obviously detention in public schools in Baltimore in the 50s were obviously full of all African American kids because they were the troublemakers because public schools.
Seaweed.
Seaweed,
Played by
yes.
Elijah Kelly.
Elijah Kelly, and she meets these characters and eventually gets like asked to hang out with them, and starts dancing more. And then is this when? And then I believe this leads up into the scene when Link comes in because he sees her dancing.
I think
through the window.
Yeah, Penny sees her too, and like that's when Penny sees Seaweed, I think. And then Link comes by. He doesn't come in because he hasn't gotten himself detention yet.
Mm-hmm. He's walking to the
But
hallway.
he's walking by and he sees Tracy doing like the dance and like smacks her ass kind of. And he's like, "Oh, like you got some moves. You should show up to the Ladies' Choice dance."
If Corny
tomorrow."
Collins sees you dancing like that, he'll put you on the show.
Yeah.
And guess what? He did.
did.
Spoiler.
So there's the dance.
And then the I can hear the bells.
I can hear the
We
bells.
obviously don't know the full lyrics of this
The
song.
song goes.
But it is a bang.
Round one.
Yeah.
You ask me on a
Date.
date, and
Yes.
round two. We'll kiss
Stay up late.
Stay up late.
don't
And
know.
then
Kiss inside
there's
of his car.
Round three.
When we kiss inside his car,
He'll rail
we'll
me
go
to the door.
We won't go all the way, but I'll go pretty far. Round four.
Something about marriage.
Something
I
about
think.
like parent
Yeah.
moment or whatever. But she comes up with this whole fantasy of like
Yeah.
I'm gonna marry Lake, blah 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 blah, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So eventually,
Haven't we all?
Honestly, the amount of times I have fantasized about marrying Zac Efron, like I don't have.
I do want to quickly jump back a second to right before Tracy goes to the audition, and it doesn't go well for her. She does ask her parents about it.
Oh yeah, and Edna Turnblad's like, no.
Travolta
no.
and Turnblad's like, no, honey. You know, when I was a kid, I wanted to run a. He kind of sounds like Cartman when I'm doing it. he's like, I wanted to run a coin-operated laundromat, but I came down from that cloud real quick.
Wow, she had very high hopes as growing up there.
And then Christopher
Tracy
Walken's like,
goes
is
away
this
crying.
your dream? Then
like,
you should do it.
Then you should go for it.
You should go for it. He has like a stroke in the middle of saying it. He's like, you should go for it.
Collapses on set. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That was before.
Yeah, that did happen.
And so then fast forward through everything we just talked about.
The dance.
It's an interest, but back to that though. It's interesting that it's great to see like Edna's transition throughout this, because obviously she's trying to protect Tracy.
Yeah.
Because she's seen.
She's like they won't let girls like her.
They obviously don't like, she's scared to go out in public for whatever reasons. Obviously she's very conscious about her size and whatnot. And you're trying to protect her daughter from this. You're trying to protect her daughter from the cruelties of the world that she knows. And then you have her father, who doesn't really obviously doesn't care because he married Edna Turnblad. And is very supportive, and it's very interesting to see as we get through this film. She becomes this very supportive figure for Tracy in terms of everything, bringing her to getting her first we'll get to it eventually, but getting her first deal with a sponsorship, and dealing with the Von Tussles, and dealing with all of that, and even going to the march, the protest with her.
Yeah, and in counterpoint to where the naysayers who'd be like, again, oh, that's John Travolta in drag. I mean, all those good qualities, I think, is the consequence of John Travolta's actions with the role. He had input on the fat suit, so he made it look realistic, and he plays the nervous, having this whole baggage.
She seems like she and Allison Janney are both, and even Michelle Pfeiffer, are all playing overconscious mothers, but it's the ways that they're coming at it that tell their characters.
Yeah.
Because Travolta's the Edna Turnblad take is that she loves her daughter so much, and she experienced cruelties for being overweight as a woman.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want her daughter to experience the same thing, but can't comprehend that society is changing and acceptance is changing.
Right.
And that you need to be the change you want to see. Whereas Allison Janney and Michelle Pfeiffer are also playing people who don't want their daughters to get hurt, but have different ways of approaching it.
Harry.
And Allison Janney's I don't want my daughter to get hurt, so she needs to just be a good Christian girl and not do anything. And Michelle Pfeiffer's Amber, I don't want you to get hurt, so you just need to sleep with the judges and make sure you always win.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So now it's the dance.
Yes.
Corny Collins, Ladies' Choice dance. So Tracy goes to the dance, and
Ladies' Choice goes.
Ladies' Choice
goes.
It's the ladies' choice.
Oh, wait, let it go.
Oh, Daddy Zach. So obviously, and then Tracy uses the dance that she learned from Seaweed in detention to get on. I mean, obviously, throughout this entire show, you bring up the fact that if you look at all music history and dances and that, it's pretty much white people have nothing to do with it. We steal it from every other culture.
Oh yeah,
hands down. And they bring this up constantly throughout the movie, and even in the musical, in ways she uses the dance from Seaweed. Obviously, Seaweed gives permission, but she's originally saying, let's do it together, co-oping it in a segregated school, obviously,
and he's like, no, we can't be singing dancing together.
And she's obviously saying, oh no, we can, but eventually uses the dance that she was taught by
Corny Collins. Sees this,
and
I love this transition that happens, because all we see after is just Penny running home by herself, and she's just screaming Mrs. Turnblad. Then she runs to the store. It's like, Mr. Turnblad, you need to come with me. It's like, oh,
and
okay.
Christopher Walken's
is there a fire?
And so they go upstairs. They turn the TV on. It's like, I'm Brenda, and I'm Tracy. And it's like,
quick thing I want to say: Ladies' Choice was actually written for this movie. It was
that. I was I don't remember that from the original.
I just noticed this.
Okay.
So when you asked earlier, this song was written for the movie.
Yeah,
the song that plays during the end credits was also written for the movie.
Good song.
Gotcha.
Ladies' Choice is good. I like that one.
And then obviously we'll get to like when they do Negro Day, the song that was playing before it was written by the 3 black female singers in this, but they steal it. The new girl in town. They steal it. Amber steals it.
Yeah.
And then Von Tussle has a problem.
Man. Look out!
She was the new girl in town.
I think the transition of New Girl in Town is so good. Like the way it starts off with Amber singing it, and then just slowly but surely it just becomes more and more black, and integration's happening until the song ends with a different trio of black artists singing.
And like when their version is like so plain, there's really nothing to it, and then you just get to the R&B, soul version of it, and like I don't know who the actresses were, the singers were, but they had phenomenal voices, and they did such a good job playing those characters.
It's more colorful too.
Yeah, and it was like obviously it's like
they got red dresses with a purple backdrop and everything, where it's
which is funny because it was black and white TV, you couldn't see shit, but whatever.
True that.
But obviously it was a better version of the song too. It's
because that's right after the Tracy gets in, and then we see like the white version of New Girl in Town, and then like the black singers are singing it, and it's Negro Day, and then right in the end, and then Queen Latifah, we get Queen Latifah coming. It's like, and we're brought to you by, it's like Negro Day, and we'll be back next month. Brought to you by, and I can't remember.
And she's reading cue cards, and like she obviously changes her tone, going, "Every kink will be gone in a blink," or whatever. It was some white person in hairspray. Shit.
And so then it's like, all right, and we're out. And then Michelle Pfeiffer, Miss Von Trussell, it's like, how dare you guys do the exact same song? She's like, they wrote it.
Yeah.
And
that actually gets their show canceled.
When
you get to it
one step away from getting canceled. Very racist, Mrs. Von Trussell.
I find that this movie is called Hairspray and uses hairspray as much as like a fascinating allegory in the movie. Because hairspray as an object is just something that keeps things rigid and stiff and unchanging.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that Tracy at the end rejects using hairspray is just the way of hairspray. It feels like it's just like, it's called Hairspray because it's set in like the early 60s when Hairspray was coming along. They need like the through line for the movie. But it's such an allegory for what all the characters are going through. In that, like, Queen Latifah's character is pushing away from advertising hairspray and using hairspray. She wants to be free and like have freewheeling. Meanwhile, Tracy's like thinks that hairspray is the new thing, and then at the end learns you don't need to be so stiff and rigid. You can be whoever you want.
Yeah.
You don't need straight lines.
Yeah.
Or high hair.
Whatever you want.
So what's after that bit with the Negro Day?
Well, it's when Tracy convinces her mom to come out of the house.
This is the
she has to get a dress
because Tracy pops off. She becomes very famous very quick.
She gets a call from Mr. Pinky's Bustiers or whatever the store is.
We want you to be like our
spokeswoman, sponsor, whatever. And she is like, I need an agent. Why don't you be my agent, Mom?
Yeah, who better than my own mother who will take care of me?
Exactly. And this is where you get her awful Baltimore accent going, my next diet. Like, who would go on my next diet? And then eventually you get her out of the and then
my neighbors haven't seen me since 90 pounds lighter.
Yeah. This is 1951.
What song was that the music that they played, the big number they went into?
Welcome to the 60s.
Welcome to the 60s.
Yeah, so that song.
So they play "Welcome to the '60s."
And I believe I believe they play that song when they originally leave the house on the way to the store.
Yes.
And then they pick it up again when she's changing into this dress and becoming this new version of herself and being more outgoing.
Great song and story.
I think the best thing is when she's in the changing room and then they're like waiting, the assistants are waiting and they do like the head bop and they like pull open the curtain and John Travolta's like isn't fully dressed yet. It's just like all like her underwear,
the bra,
on, and she goes, and closes the thing. I don't know why, but that moment is just like that hits beautifully. It's a little like comical moment.
And they have that part where he like walks into like he sits on the the hairstyling chair and they spin it.
Yeah,
and he starts looking like he does. And he comes out beautiful.
And he was beautiful before.
And he comes out even more.
He
beautiful.
became fabulous. But he came out looking like her daughter.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, was a very interesting thing. But then Tracy's hair changes at that same time as well. She no longer has that, the Tracy Turnblad hairstyle. And that's like a kind of like, I believe the beginning of what you were saying is that change where she's like, I don't need this. But it was interesting because obviously like her mom was trying to protect her for all these things. And eventually is like, her daughter's like pushing her into becoming more open, seeing the world is changing, whatnot. And she adapts like her daughter's like style, her, things in life and whatnot. It's an interesting thing. And then we get to the beautiful outdoor number of them dancing and singing and John Travolta's amazing choreography.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
That's Tracy who brings her mother, like, who cares so much about her mother that she wants her to be accepted in this world. And instead of the other way around.
We do get that amazing street flash mob dance and everything.
And she's like, Mama, the world is changing. Like, things are changing. Like, things are getting better. Like, if
you don't have to hide anymore.
Exactly. And this is
people
like,
who
obviously
are different
Tracy's
are becoming more accepted.
And this is obviously Tracy's way of also being like, you want to see change in the world, be the change. Like, there's beautiful quotes from some people who, I don't know who actually said that, but the whole thing of like, if you want change in the world, be the change.
Yeah. And they go to Mr. Pinky's, and Jerry Stiller is inexplicably in this movie.
Can we talk about how great that character is?
Yes, he's great.
Less than a 5-minute little like cameo in it. But the negotiation scine we were talking about earlier is like,
no, absolutely not.
I want a non-exclusive contract, and I want you to absorb my 15% commission, not a dime over 10. Throwing a Bussier.
34D.
Triple E or whatever. I've hit the mother load.
That just continues.
And then it goes into the beautiful dance number of the flash mob outside. And they obviously go to a diner afterwards, and this is when they run into Von Tussle and and Amber. And this is the beautiful line of going, well, you'll stop traffic. Which honestly, it could go either way.
If you said that in a nicer way.
If I was like, girl, you would stop traffic. Like, people are going to stop and look. But the way, it's the delivery that makes it hurt. Because
well, you'll stop traffic.
Well, like, because the way she said it was like, you're just you're like ugly as hell.
Yeah.
Like, you nasty. But yeah.
Yeah,
but honestly, good burn. I'll give credit when credit is due.
Sometimes you gotta respect a good burn.
Exactly.
So
but it really sends Edna, and she's like, I'm so stupid. I'm gonna go back to the house.
But Tracy obviously stops that and is like, no, fuck this woman. Fuck her opinion. You're gorgeous.
Yeah.
You're perfect the way you are. That beautiful body positivity. Continuing that be the change you want to see in the world. It's
Gandhi, by the way.
Is it? Oh, thank you. Wow.
I needed to say that because I know some people who are listening to this will be like, it's Gandhi! It's Gandhi!
I asked a minute ago whoever said that, and I was like, I don't think it was Gandhi in my head, but I was like, it
was Gandhi.
Thank you. So it was Gandhi. Thank you. But you're sticking on that, that concept of that whole underlying message throughout this film, and Tracy's a huge proponent of that, and is like drives that through the whole thing. So after that scene, we move on to what's after this?
The next bit is that Seaweed invites Penny and Tracy to the party at Queen Latifah's record store, and
Link joins.
Gets detention.
Link gets detention because he stands up for Tracy.
Yeah. Oh no! But the scene before it, I think, is beautiful. So Amber, being this little like prissy little bitch blonde woman who is like constantly like undermining. She does obviously hates Tracy for what he is because she's not this like beautiful woman like she is and everyone else on the show.
There's a lot of bits where like she talks to Corny Collins on the air. It's like, but Miss Hairspray is mine. It's like, oh, we're on the air.
Yeah. But they're in the back of a classroom talking, and she's making fun of Tracy. Tracy's asleep in class. And Link goes, stop that. Like, stop doing that. Stop making fun of Tracy just because, quote, she's a good dancer.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like, the teacher goes, what's going on? And obviously, Amber drew a photo of this teacher with man boobs and just was like, oh, Tracy, Mr. So-and-so doesn't have breasts. And like, and Tracy just woke up from a nap and she's completely like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And then eventually Link stands up to defend Tracy and, go against Amber. And he's like, well, what was the last words of so-and-so? And he was like, well, kiss my ass. And he obviously he does that to get in, to the tension with Tracy.
So Tracy and Link both go to the detention, and that's when they both see seaweed. And Link tries to do his dance, but he's clearly doing like the everyday white boy dance, and it's just not reading in the rooms.
He's trying to be hip and cool.
Yeah,
not succeeding.
But that's when they get the invite to the party at Queen Latifah's.
And he obviously gets concerned. He's like, will we be safe there?
Yeah.
It's like, of course we will.
It's like, we're more afraid of being on your streets.
Yeah, Queen Latifah brings up a great point. It's like, we have way more reasons to be concerned on your streets than you on ours. Like, but ours. So they go to the record shop, and she owns this like beautiful like record and soul and hip hop record store.
And then a Turnblad comes there too. There's the
because Amber calls and it's like, dude, my name's Nick or whatever, and calls and is like, where your daughter is, and at this record store in this like black area of town, and she comes down here, and obviously Turnblad, Mrs. Turnblad, and Queen Latifah's character are very big women in this, and obviously good soul cooking. She like convinces her to stay by offering her brisket and braised. Or
is that braised?
Is that braised? Is that braised? And
and then eventually comes out that Negro Day is getting canceled.
Yeah, and she's like, well, this is like an ending party for Negro Day. And that's when Tracy and that's when Tracy was like, well, we should protest. Like, what's better than the time slot of that original show? How about the 6 o'clock evening news? So they plan a protest like the next day.
And Edna's immediately like, no, like they put you on list.
Yeah. Well, we got to talk about why Edna's there really quick.
Because Amber called, right?
Yeah, didn't I just mention that?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I just mentioned Amber.
Amber called and said, like, we know where your daughter is.
So that she's at the house so that Michelle Pfeiffer can go and do her ploy.
Yeah, because Michelle Pfeiffer has her ploy with Chris Walken.
Honestly, that entire scene is just like,
how can you be so obtuse? I failed geometry.
I failed geometry and biology, I bet too. Yeah. But I forgot honestly that what was the reason why. Obviously,
Edna's like, you can't go. They'll put you on a list.
List.
Once again, the accent is
it's atrocious,
absurd. So she goes down there to the record store. She's freaking out that Tracy's in this like black neighborhood and whatnot. And eventually, realizes that was stupid of her to even be concerned and whatnot. And then obviously she gets bribed with food. Let's just push the narrative that fat people love food, which is I'm fat. I love food, but so she stays. They have they come up with the concept of they're gonna protest the studio for canceling Negro Day.
Edna Turnblad's immediately like, no. And Link is also like, well, like Mrs. Von Trussell like said, like this could be my big shot.
Yeah.
According to Collins, like I don't want to risk that
because Miss Baltimore has like has a live studio broadcast, live audience. They usually have like talent agents come. So like he freaked out because he saw his future potentially could be corrupted, destroyed by it. And Tracy was like,
right.
Exactly. And like, that's a very hard moral dilemma for, a lot of things. It's like, well, this could ruin my life if I know what the right thing is, but at the same time, I still have to be able to protect myself and my future and whatnot. And it's that comes up in everyday life of people of going, I know
career or morals.
Exactly. And like, obviously could have just, if it went any other way, could have destroyed his career, blah, 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 whatever.
And like Edna even is like, yes, the thing I learned with your father is that men always put their career first. It kind of sounds like Dr. Evil now. I don't know what's going on.
He's just going through
swapping all the voices.
Yeah. He's like, your mother, Mr. Powers. Tracy, you shouldn't go to the party.
It's actually kind of close.
You're getting there. It's a mixed match. I think eventually by the end of this, recording, you'll have it beautifully done.
At the end of this recording. But but Tracy, her mother's like, the thing I learned with your father is that men always put the career first before you.
And we get the whole Link thing with him not wanting to go. So then the protest is immediately the next scene, is it?
No, it's not immediately after.
No, they go back. They go back to the house where
Christopher Walken and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Doing the, he's like just trying to sell her, gags and
Tracy
jokes.
convinces her mom to romance her dad, which is kind of strange. But she convinces her mom.
You need to fuck daddy. Like he needs that good.
And so Edna's really excited to like go down and surprise her husband in like a nice dress. Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, Christopher Walken's being
the perfect salesman
assailed
he is.
to by Michelle Pfeiffer, who's trying to like sleep with him and cause a rift in the relationship. And Christopher Walken is not getting it. She's like doing sexual things, and he's like, "Yow, how about a rubber chicken? Am I right?"
Here on X-ray glasses.
And he's like, "It's right. They don't actually work." And she's like, "I bet you don't need glasses.
These are as phony as a $3 bill."
Yeah. And she says, "She's like, I bet you don't need those to see under clothes." And drops her coat, and he's like,
"We have a special product."
"Yeah, a special product for that." I wrote in my notes. I was like, I think that they kind of rewrote the script at some parts because there were words they wanted to hear Christopher Walken say. Because there's one part where he's like, "It's a thing of fake Belgian chocolates that," and he's like listing all these crazy words, and I'm like, these just
Do you think they even gave him a script, or they just put him in a room with a bunch of stuff and was like, "Go"?
Yeah.
Like kind of like how they did the opening scene of Aladdin, the salesperson,
Robin
Robin
Williams
Williams.
Coffee maker, it broke.
I feel like they just did that. I feel like, or just let him just talk. Let him do his classic accent. His the way
start
he uses
riffing on
words.
shit.
So as Tracy and Edna get back home, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go to sleep," and then as soon as Edna like sneaks in, gets all dressed up and pampered, and like she's gonna go to like the prank store, which it took me a while to realize that is right downstairs in their apartment, because like it seems like, because then Michelle Pfeiffer goes on her song about wanting to sleep with Christopher Walken, and at the same time Edna Turnblad, they're doing like a duet thing, a yin and yang duet.
Yeah.
And as soon as Edna like steps out of the door, she's also walking in the prank store, and that's when Michelle Pfeiffer finishes her song with like getting really close to Walken. She's like, "Wilbur!" He's like, "Oh, darling, this is what it looks." And then
she's just coming on to me.
Coming on to me. It's like,
And it's like also hilarious because it's like she grabs him and like
pretends
and like
he's like
pulls
thrusting
him
on her,
and like pulls him onto her, and he goes, "Oh, your wife! You said she wasn't gonna be home anytime soon." It's like, dear God.
Yeah.
yeah.
It gets wrapped up very quickly, which I like. That Edna's able to just see through the nonsense there.
It took a little bit though,
Because he's like,
had that.
"Not her," and then she runs off.
Oh my God! And then obviously we get to the beautiful whoopee cushion scene of him now in the dog, quote unquote, the doghouse, sleeping in the store.
Yeah.
And Tracy comes down to talk to her dad, and he's like sitting up out of bed, and you just hear like fart noise after fart noise.
Dad, it's like I had to use these. I had cushions.
I had to use whoopee cushions as a mattress.
I didn't want to gamble my sciatica.
And then eventually, she changed the locks. Tracy gave him the new key to get into the house, and he goes up and he apologizes to Miss Edna Turnblad. And it goes into this
the great triumph of modern film history.
We finally get to hear his beautiful singing voice. And it's just like he's like, "You're a fatal disease, baby.
You're a fatal disease, baby." And Travolta's killing it though.
Oh yeah, Travolta's killing it, and they have like different like
Timeless
costumes
to me.
and lighting, and it goes from like a red like samba like
Oh,
dance.
when they're going through like the
Yeah,
clothes that are in the back back of the house drying, and they go to like that full like red
Oh,
samba
my
outfit, and they're like
gosh.
dancing. Oh my God,
There's like
it's
a
such
classic
and the
Hollywood
white ballroom
moment.
dance.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
oh my God, it was
So good.
so good. And then it
And then
ends,
you
cut to black. "Oh, Wilbur."
Oh, you know she got dick down good.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that might have been the second Tracy Turnblad that popped out of that engine. Rails we paraded. You're timeless to me.
Look, it sounded. I'm trying to get to like. I was trying to get to like.
It's just like, "I won't stop."
It won't stop.
Oh my God! But there's honestly, I wish I knew the lyrics to that song a little more.
I
but
do
it is
too.
it is such a good moment in that film.
Yeah.
And then so after that we go to what's after this?
I think after this is the protest, right?
Yeah, it's a protest after.
Yeah.
Tracy shows up, and then we get I think objectively the most beautiful song in the entire film. Was sung by Queen Latifah.
The
What's the name of it?
I can't remember the name of it. That's the
I Know Where I've Been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's I Know Where I've Been, because it's right after Timeless to me.
Yeah. Beautiful song as they're marching through the streets protesting. I know like we talked about this earlier. Yeah. I know we talked about this earlier with
Sorry, I had to play it.
Yeah. So I think this is like the one bit where I didn't have like a problem with it.
Yeah, but there's a little bit of a white savior thing.
Just because like Tracy is like front.
She's foregrounded.
She's foreground in this whole thing, and I don't know how else. I don't know how else like you would have been able to do it, because like the scene is kind of like about her involvement, but also like I don't think it needs to be like like you have Tracy show up and then she's just kind of like in the midst of like the mid-ground.
Yeah.
Like,
And then she obviously causes the ruckus by hitting the police officer.
Yeah.
The white person, it's like
it's like the white person's the one who causes
the problem. And
problem.
Tracy runs
but then
off.
people start getting arrested for her.
Yeah.
20 people get arrested. Tracy escapes.
Yeah.
In the musical and the movie, she does get arrested.
She does. She goes to jail. Like, she's in jail, and she gets broken out of jail in the actual musical. But I do love the scene, because like it still is Seaweed and Penny breaking her out of jail. They like tie a rope to the window, and they the classic like I'm gonna break you out of jail scene from cartoon movies or whatnot. That's how the musical goes. But obviously in the movie, like, she tries to be hidden in Penny's basement, which is literally like a nuclear bunker, which has like gas masks. She's like, I don't even know why we have this
we
house.
have a Russian translation
we have a Russian book, which is obviously it's like the Cold War era.
Yeah.
So like her mom's a fucking doomsday prepper, and like has gas masks, like all these canned foods, like ready for like a Russian invasion. Or maybe she is a sleeper cell, because she does have translation books, but who knows? Once again, we need the backstory of that family. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and I need to know.
Yeah.
But they hide her in there, and then Penny's mom immediately finds them.
Yeah,
and she locks Tracy in the bomb shelter room and says, "Just don't eat my tuna." And that kind of subs
I thought
in
it was
for
my
the prison.
canned peaches, or was it
peaches?
tuna? One of those two.
It was one of the two.
I think it was tuna.
Either or.
And so then she ties
She's like, don't
up.
eat my peaches in either way.
Oh, she ties up Penny with a jump rope?
Yeah.
She ties Penny up with the jump rope and plays the Lord's
Devil
Prayer.
child.
and throws holy water on her. And which I also find hilarious. Like, she watches, like, her mom watches the Corny Collins show, which is how she finds out that, like, we'll get to it eventually, but like Penny kisses Seaweed on like an interracial kiss on TV. It's like, what a fucking hypocrite.
That is like true. Like, she otherwise would not have known.
Do what I say, not what I do.
Exactly. Right. So
then that's when Seaweed breaks Penny out, and they got this whole like love song together. That's interlaced with Link, who shows up at the Turnblad's house, and he's singing in Tracy's room, like with her photo, and does the whole kissing photo thing. So yeah, that little trope. And then
Without Love, it's the song.
So then
it's when everyone decides to
when
step
he
up.
like humps the fucking almost makes out with the photo of Tracy. Also, I just want to point out, who the fuck has a photo of themselves above their bed?
It's very strange.
I have photos of, like, honestly, Jeff, I have a photo of you from graduation with my family and you. I have photos of my dogs. I have photos of my family. It's like on my headboard. But like, not just like not
you.
a headshot of myself above my bed.
It's very strange.
It's a little weird. And then the fact that he finds like a payday bar, a half-eaten payday bar in the bed, and starts eating it. I was like, this is brilliant. This is gorgeous. I love this.
There's so much sexual tension.
Honestly, I want him. I want him as a husband. I want that character as a husband.
So as soon as Penny and Seaweed get out, and then Penny sees Tracy, and she gives her the key to get out of the bomb shelter. Tracy gets in the trunk of the car. Penny's like underneath a blanket, which oddly enough, it's kind of a little weird, like, trope of a scene, because it's like the cops pull them over and they're all like acting kind of nervous, which is an overarching scene.
Also, there's definitely nothing in my trunk.
Yeah, right.
Don't worry, there's no one back there.
Yeah. So, but then after that, I think is the Miss Hairspray dance.
Yes.
They set up a plan. They go back to the mom.
Tracy calls Edna and says, "You're gonna meet Penny at this place. She'll take you somewhere. Come in a nice dress."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And obviously Tracy comes up with a plan to break into the Miss Hairspray contest at the studios, which you get this beautiful how dumb the Baltimore police cops are by literally carrying her into this thing.
Well, and you also get the Christopher Walken Tracy disguise.
Oh God, he's like, oh, were you looking
John
for
got
someone?
to be
guys suspected someone.
Yeah. He's like, John got to be in drag. Why can't I be in drag?
Exactly. And it's like, were you looking for someone?
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, and then like, the
doors were
and they're hilarious because she's like, you probably locked yourselves out, and go and behold,
Check the doors.
check the doors, and they're locked out. And then if you go back in the film, they actually have the Hairspray canisters like empty, and they show how light they are, like as just like a little like Easter egg, precursor. Like a couple seasons before that, as they're getting ready for the contest, and they pick up this battering ram and they break it in, and apparently it's like super fucking heavy.
And they're like, "What took you so long? How long does it take to break in the door?" It's like, "Oh, those canister things are really heavy." It's like, "What do you mean? They're hollow."
And they go out there and they obviously see this fucking
door open.
You carried her in.
Can we talk about how like she definitely has like lifelong brain damage now
From being
like think about it. They were using the top, like where the cap part of the thing. So it stands up directly. Unless she was standing on her head waiting to be used as a battering ram, her head was getting smashed into the top of that door every single time. Tracy died.
It would have kind of rolled if they had just like kept ramming into the door, and then the last one they ram through, the door breaks open, the top pops off, and Tracy shoots out like a rocket.
But like she probably would have died. Her neck would have been broken. She would have had some kind of brain damage.
Well, maybe it was the cushion of her hair that like.
No, she didn't even have. Remember, she has flat hair now.
Oh,
she's not using hairspray.
She's no longer using the protection of hairspray.
Oh God.
And so Tracy snuck in.
And also,
Edna
we
comes in a
need
disguise.
to mention that like during like the dancing contest for Miss Hairspray, Michelle Pfeiffer, Miss Von Trussell, is like cheating with the voting cards.
Yeah, she's taking the cards and switching ones with Amber's name on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, because she couldn't sleep with the judges for this one, so she's gonna obviously do everything she can to steal it for her daughter because she's a horrible fucking person.
Yeah.
So Tracy gets in. They have all of the people who were part of Negro Day to like help facilitate all of this, all those supporting characters. They like have her up in this like hairspray rocket ship in the background.
Corny Collins is like, all right, and we're about to announce the winner of Miss Hairspray, and it looks like Amber, and then cut to Tracy coming down, is about to get out danced.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's like,
oh, it's Miss Tracy Turnblad.
The thing is, like, he obviously was like I think he was in on it because like if you watch him, he's like, wow, it's a close race we got going on. What a nail biter, and he's like just delaying it as long as he can because I feel like he knew something was going to happen.
Good point. I definitely think like he was in on it.
He was in on it, or he was hoping something would happen or change because he was like, he's like, fuck, I don't want to deal with this.
I don't want to name.
Like he knew it was going on. He obviously knew that she was cheating.
Yeah. So then Tracy does her little dance routine, and is this when You Can't Stop the Beat?
You can't stop the beat
ever since this whole world began.
Found her singing, shaking,
and Edna in the audience dressed in like a babushka disguise.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Honestly, the music in this is great.
So, fun fact: when I was in show choir in high school, we did this.
You were in show choir?
That explains a lot.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. We did this dance, or we did this song, and it was. I read on IMDb trivia piece they call it "You Can't Stop to Breathe" because of how like high paced the song is, and also how fast the lyrics are. It's like ever since this whole world began, and it's so like this song, especially like from what I remember in high school, was like. This was an endurance tester.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it was the
you had to take
test.
some pretty big breaths for that song. Like
it was the pacer test. Which, in addition to that, there's an trivia piece that Queen Latifah did not have much trouble with this song because of her history as an R&B and rap artist. So it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Also, can we talk about when obviously this is a John Travolta podcast, so we'll get to him right now dancing for the song, and she gets out there and in her beautiful like red dress again or whatever it was. And it's just like the dance is like it's just like shake. Oh my god, it's gorgeous.
It's so good.
That fat suit definitely was put on with a lot of glue that day.
Oh my god.
She comes out.
80s nightmare.
She comes out immediately after catching Michelle Pfeiffer rigging the results to try and make Amber win.
On
You're
camera, on the air.
She rips her
It's like,
babushka.
well, that can't be true because I rigged the results.
Candid camera, Mr. Powers.
Honestly, you're getting closer. You're getting closer to his actual accent in this.
So, at that point, it's like, all right, now we're really gonna announce. And we missed the whole character intro from Queen Latifah's party, who like comes back in this.
Inez.
Inez, yeah. Inez, who's like, I would
Queen
say,
Latifah's daughter.
yeah, and she's like what, like 15, like
Yeah, she's 14 or 15.
14 or 15, really young.
She's like a freshman or sophomore in high
Yeah,
school.
and she like all her dream was like to get on Negro Day.
Yeah.
which she found out then was getting canceled, and then so then Tracy gets Inez to come out and dance.
Yeah.
And as they're like dancing and stuff, then they're gonna do.
Link brings her out.
Link brings her out. Yes,
Because
Link
earlier to be expressed that there never been a moment when a white person and a black person danced on TV together.
Yeah, which actually that's not true, because I believe Shirley Temple and Bojangles did like the stair step dance in one of their movies. So
Well, on TV.
that was on TV.
Oh, was it?
That was a movie.
Well, does that count?
No.
Okay.
Theatrical movie different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way,
get that shit right. But
Either way,
I'm just saying,
at
it's
least
on screen. It's on screen.
At least, yeah. And
Either
so,
way, big part in history. And this is Link going, fuck my chances of the Talon Scouts. Morals should be,
First.
come over be first, be over my career. I need to do
We get
the
it,
right
Scott.
thing.
You want to fuck Zac Efron, okay?
I mean, who doesn't? I don't care if you are straight, gay, pan, bi, whatever. No matter what your sexuality is, you probably have a deep-seated want to fuck Zac Efron.
there's some men and women out there who are just undeniable no matter what.
Dude, there's some women out there. I'm just like, yeah. I'd go straight.
So
Whatever you want.
Inez is dancing with Zac Efron. It's a great moment, and then they're about to announce the winner. And then as they're about to announce it, then Corny Collins says, and it looks like it's Inez. And Inez actually wins.
Because her fucking dance moves were fired.
Yeah.
Dude, she fucking blew every white bitch out of there.
By herself. Because you can make the case it's like, if you're dancing with somebody, it helps your ability to like dance a lot better because you have a partner. But her solo dance is really good.
Oh, girl, she fucking killed it. Like, hands down, deserved it. Like, there isn't a doubt in my mind.
So Inez wins Miss Hairspray, and then Courtney Collins is like, and we are officially integrating
the Courtney Collins show. Negro Day is every day.
Yeah. So then everybody's dancing. You Can't Stop the Beat now. Tracy and
Von Tussle gets fired.
Yep, Von Tussle gets fired. Oh, and then that's when we get, I am officially a checkerboard
Chick. And she kisses seaweed.
Yeah.
Amanda Bynes'
And
character.
Allison Janney like dies.
Which is funny. Back to my thing of she's a fucking hypocrite. She's watching the Corny Collins show after saying you shouldn't be watching this devil show, and she's watching it while like reading the Bible and crocheting something, and like fucking falls over.
Yeah. Lincoln Tracy kiss.
That is hold on. Allison Janney from West Wing to Hairspray.
Yeah.
To I, Tanya.
This is such a I was like I knew what she was in before this, and I was like, what was the name of that show? It was like White House something, and I don't know. I just put
White House Down.
White House Down. Where I just put two and two together, and I was like, that's such an interesting change. She went from like being the press secretary to fucking Martin Sheen or whatever, to being fucking this crazy doomsday prepper.
I mean, we
woman.
talked about her in Primary Colors, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, she's in Primary.
Yeah, she was in Primary Colors.
Oh.
This is the same year she's in Juno as well.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Was she the mom in Juno?
I believe she was. It was her and J.K. Simmons, right?
Yeah. So
confirmed. Her and J.K. Simmons.
And then
thank you,
the
Internet.
movie ends, I think, with Link and Tracy kissing, and everybody's on screen dancing, and then credits.
Yeah.
See if Tracy can get a kiss from Zac
And-
Efron, so can I.
And that's I believe
It's me,
I
Nikki
believe-
Blonsky from the movie Hairspray.
Yeah, I believe you can, Scott. And that's the movie. That's Hairspray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuart, do you want to quickly talk about the hair?
Let's cue the hair ranking music. hair ranking.
Oh yeah, we get to rank the hairstyles.
We're gonna rank
Stuart's
John.
been ranking every John Travolta hairstyle in every movie.
Oh, I thought you meant of this like. Of just,
I mean, we can do a secondary hairstyle ranking this movie.
Okay,
I'm down to do two.
Okay, but remember, he had two different styles. He had the original, and then he had the Tracy Turnblad look. So he had two major looks in this film for his hair.
Wait, two hairstyles. I don't remember like what the differences were. To be honest, though, I just remember like the general look that Edna Turnblad wears.
Okay, fine. We'll just do that one then.
Here I'm pulling up a quick photo of it. Edna Turnblad, John Travolta. Man, the audience is getting real great.
Because this is like what he has at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And then this is the new one.
Right. I mean, it's very similar, but like with a little bit more floof.
She's hot.
Oh, but pulled up the red dress.
Oh my god, the red dress with like the golden like frivels or what the hell they're called. Like the seam lines. Oh my god.
So this is gonna go high. This is gonna go pretty high.
As it should.
I'm going to put this. Man, this is actually kind of hard. No, it's not. No, it's not hard. Put this above Get Shorty, below Michael.
Above Get Shorty, below Michael.
So it's going to be the new number 7.
New number 7.
It's in the top 10. It's in the top 10.
Good.
Yeah.
As it should.
Yeah. So that's the hair ranking for John Travolta's Edna Turnblad and Hairspray.
Did we want to rank the general hairstyles of this movie?
Tracy, 1. Link, number 2.
Corny Collins is number 3.
Let's give our top 3.
Can we also talk about how like I was like they literally just casted like a JFK to look like Corny Collins.
Well, James Marsden does play JFK in
The Butler.
The Butler.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
The movie where John oh my god, what's his name? Oh god.
What?
I can't believe
Forrest
I'm blanking
Whitaker
on
or
his name. No, oh
Robert
god,
Williams?
keep going. I'm trying to
James
Who
Marsden?
plays Nixon? It's
oh shit!
John Cusack.
John Cusack!
John Cusack plays Richard. It's very strange.
It is very
He's
strange.
like, I'm John Cusack.
But yeah, that's the movie. Any post text for us, Jeff?
So movie comes out.
Huge
Comes
hit.
out on my birthday in 2007.
Wow.
July 10th.
Right when Jeff was born.
Rude. No, I would have been 10 when this
It was
movie
the
came
worst day in American history.
out. It is.
Oh.
This podcast wouldn't exist if it wasn't for that. So
Yeah, exactly.
bad.
This is
Well,
all
9
downhill.
months prior to
So,
that, but
I do have to say, you could just have watched the movie instead of listening to our podcast. But if you got to this point in this, I appreciate your time and effort. You could have just watched the film.
watch the movie and then listen to us.
Yeah.
So this comes out on that day in 2007. And has the widest debut for any modern movie musical at the time. It opens on 3,000 screens. It opens at number 3, which isn't like exciting, but it is behind Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
and what else?
I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
Oh, really?
Which is-
I pronounce you Chuck and Larry beats Hairspray.
Yes, unfortunately.
The disrespect.
another movie with questionable gay politics in it.
Wow,
Um,
that's disrespectful.
it does, however.
Scott's left speechless.
It does, however, win the record for biggest opening weekend for a movie based on a Broadway musical, even with
Until-
opening number 3.
until
I think Les Mis, right?
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
Like the year later, I think.
Yeah.
Right. It was 2008.
Mamma Mia is 2008. So
yeah.
the next year, yeah. But
So
still,
John Travolta is responsible for like 2 highest grossing like musicals.
yeah, and it's the 12th highest grossing musical in U.S. history still.
And Grease is number 8, I think.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It makes a total of $203 million.
What was its budget?
75. So pretty good.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a cast. 75 million's the cast, period piece, all the
So
sets.
it doubles its budget and then some, which
Well,
is
I mean,
a
have you
good
been to
take.
did they shoot it in Baltimore by chance?
Let me see where they shot it.
Because like
They shot it in
Baltim-
Toronto and Hamilton, Ontario.
Because I was gonna say Baltimore still looks like that in spots.
Yeah.
They did not have sound stages in Baltimore to film this movie, so they filmed it in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, this is also during like the huge time when like a bunch of studios moved a lot of the productions to Canada because it was
Canada.
Tax
cheaper.
incentives,
Yeah.
Because for some
Yeah.
reason, America was just like, let's raise taxes on the film industry, which they should in some aspects, but it's a gross waste of money. but they moved a bunch of stuff to Canada at this time, and this is why Chicago's film industry dried up. It disappeared from like mid 2000s to when we got roughly to college, because there was no good tax incentives left.
Yeah, the Dark Knight and Transformers used them up, and then that was about it.
Yeah, and then we had a anti-film credit governor for a while who got rid of all the tax credits, which was just stupid.
Yeah,
because like after like the Blues Brothers, there wasn't really after like all the John Hughes movies, there wasn't really anything for a while, and that stuff came, and then really nothing.
It'd just be like the occasional movie would film here.
Yeah,
and now the film industry here is popping off.
Hell yes, it is.
A lot of work,
great for all of us.
A lot of employment.
It pays for my food.
But so this movie does really well, for what it is, a movie musical.
Yeah.
The prolonged the box office by making sing-along prints of the film and shipping them out to movie theaters, so people go see it a second time so they could sing along with the movie.
Okay, time out. That might be the most annoying concept I've ever heard in my entire life. I could not imagine going to a theater and being like, I want to watch a movie, and then just listen to everybody else in the goddamn theater singing along to it. Like you guys have all heard. You guys have all heard our voices singing to songs that we all watched less than 24 hours ago, and we still don't know the lyrics perfectly. So like that must have been the worst experience ever.
I can imagine it being so.
But continue, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay. Travolta really pushed for this to be a big success. He went to like Q&As. He did a lot of autograph screenings. He's the marquee character in this movie.
Yeah.
He was what, number 2 on the call sheet, 1 on the call sheet?
I would guess he would probably be number 1 or number 2. I mean, Tracy's the main character, but he got top billing.
Yeah, well, because it's John Travolta.
Yeah, because it's him. This is like he's the marquee character.
Yeah.
Was he an executive producer on this at all?
I do not believe he was an executive.
Gotcha.
But the movie, it comes out, gets really good reviews. Is 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. Some people unfavorably compare it to the original movie, but I don't think that's a fair comparison because one's a musical and one isn't. They're trying to accomplish two different things. Roger Ebert gives it 3.5 out of 4 stars because he knows quality when he sees it. Am I right?
He liked Ladder 49.
He did like Ladder 49.
It is quality.
Yeah.
It is perfect. I can't name a single thing wrong with it.
It's a perfect movie.
And did I just rebuy it on iTunes yesterday for $14 so I can own it and watch it whenever I want? Absolutely, I did.
Wow.
Why would you not?
Okay.
But, it's a success. Major success. And it's good for Travolta in the moment.
Yeah.
In the long run, not so much.
Yeah, he comes out of this, and I believe he gets nominated for a Golden Globe for this, for Best Supporting Actor. He gets nominated for quite a few random small awards. The Golden Globe's the biggest one. He does not swing an Oscar nomination for it. But coming out of it, you'd think oh, he's back. This is another Pulp Fiction resurgence for him. He's coming back. But like I said at the beginning, the problem with this movie is that he now is just culturally known as John Travolta just did drag, didn't he? And in a still moderately conservative time in American history,
we're going to the second Bush era.
Yeah, that torpedoes his career.
Damn.
And we're pretty much near the end of this A-list era that we talked about. Because after this, when you start with Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 onward, people aren't seeing John Travolta movies for John Travolta anymore. He's not the draw anymore.
He isn't number 1 on the.
He's just
marquee.
in the movies.
Yeah.
The movies aren't him.
Right.
How many movies has John Travolta done in his lifetime so far? You guys should probably know this.
Oh, he has done a total of, if I don't count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I subtract those 5, he's done 64 movies.
That's a pretty successful career for an actor.
Wait.
Quantity
66.
doesn't amount quality, though.
He's done 66 movies.
You can't all be winners. But to get booked on 60 plus movies,
he's successful in the sense that he'll always get work.
He's always working.
That's multiple movies a year.
Successful is such a very, you can. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio is successful, but also you could say,
and Travolta he gets along with the fact that he's had in his 66 movies 3 or 4 really big ones that still stick around.
Yeah.
Grease, Saturday Night Fever, Pulp Fiction. Those are characters who everyone still knows those movies and knows those characters.
A lot of those movies are also still taught in terms of what they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't all be winners. They can't all, you're not going to have, it's not like every movie you make's going to be like top box office.
And I think there's going to be, so it's this, and then we're going to talk about Bolt.
Yeah, next week we talk about Bolt.
And after Bolt, we're going to have our second
retrospective
recap.
Yeah,
episode.
recap of this A-list era of Travolta's career.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Before we dive right into the next era, the Travolta exploitation era.
When are we doing? When are you doing Gotti?
Oh,
no. When are we doing Gotti?
All right, let's close out.
Gotti's going to come out May 3rd this year. So gird your loins.
Oh God, I'm gonna leave the country
All
for
right.
that.
Yeah, I think.
Scott, any last thoughts on Hairspray?
No.
Anything you want to say?
No, I think it was a fantastic movie. Sadly, I didn't know it torpedoed his career, which is kind of a little depressing because I thought
it's really depressing because like this should have been a resurgence for him, but no one can just get past that. Oh, he played a woman. That's so funny.
Yeah.
And it's hard to take him seriously right after this. But what does happen?
But then there was a sexual assault accusation like 4 years after that. There's a lot of other issues that popped up with John Travolta after this movie that you could probably contribute to some of the issues.
I mean, we'll talk about in the retrospective what's going on in his personal life right around this time because it's a very deep period of tragedy.
He had a lot going on after this.
Yeah, because it's
life.
The passage of his son, which we'll talk about, and whatnot.
Yeah, all that goes in with that.
Before you should talk about his massage.
We'll talk about his massage. But before we get into that, next week we're going to get into Bolt, a fun-loving Disney animated classic about a superhero dog who doesn't play by the rules.
Great.
So yes, folks, you can join us next week for our episode on Bolt. We'll be joined by Ange Gardner, a good friend and a great guest. Thank you, Scott, so much for joining us this week. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you for having me, guys. It was a pleasure.
We've had you booked for like a year, so it's very exciting to finally get to do it.
When you told me you were doing this, I was like, I want to do Hairspray.
Yeah.
Like from the second you mentioned this, and then you were like, oh, we're doing it in chronological order. I'll see you in 8 months.
For our audience at home, please remember, as you finish this episode, to rate, review, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. As a reminder, we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at TravoltingPod. Pop into our Reddit, r/Travolting. Email us, travoltingpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at Jeff W. Sweeney.
Find me on Instagram at Stuart95.
Scott, anything you want to plug?
No.
Okay. And as always, special thanks to Rebecca Johnson for our graphic design, Nicole Johnson for social media, and Michael Van Bodegum-Smith for our theme music that is now leading you out. See you for Bolt next week, folks. Have a great week.
Bye.